Thank you, Gichimigwich, for that wonderful introduction and the information that was provided here, and for us to be together tonight. It's a wonderful day, even though it's raining. You gotta remember the sun is still shining above those clouds, and that's the way I look at life when I start my day. Okay, it's gloomy, but it's nice and sunny up above there. So, yeah. So my name is Judy Sackaney, and it's but you know what? My name is spelled two different ways: Sackaney and Sackanay. It's like the Indian status when they registered us, our family, and then there's Ontario government. So our documents, like when they were registering my family. The Sackanay name is, it was easy for the priests when they were signing the treaties and registering all the native families. It was easy to pronounce and easy to spell. And but I just found out a couple of weeks ago my name is longer, and I'm going to do some research on that. And but a couple of years ago, I did ceremony because I knew my last name was an old language, which means Sackanay. So when we went into ceremony, I asked the person at the conduit. I asked her, I know my last name is an old Cree language. What does it mean? So my great-grandfather came in spirit and said that the word Sackanay means shapeshifter, meaning the bird going into the rabbit hole and coming out as a hawk. And I'm there like, that makes really good sense. And I'm still learning, understanding that, because when we go down the rabbit hole, we learn a lot, and learning the truth, and soaring out like a hawk. So the Sackanay is like a shapeshifter. The rabbit is, the rabbits that go in there, they hop around and they come in facing a fear, and then going in to learn, facing your fears. And so that's what my last name means, shapeshifter. With that, I am making a big painting of it, a huge painting of it, of that, my last name, and then I'm going to have it available for all the Sackneys out there. Put it in syllabics, write it in syllabics. So that's one way of preserving even your family name. And back then, I just want to share the history of some names in the Treaty 9 territory where I'm from, which is Cochrane, Ontario. I was never born or raised on a reserve because my family lived on the land and they moved into town because otherwise their kids would have been taken away before I was born. So my dad and some other families moved into Cochrane. So we wouldn't go to residential school. We went to public schools. So I'm grateful for my dad for making that decision because he knew what they were about. And to be honest, I didn't even know about residential schools till I was about 19, 20. Even all those times I was growing up and asking my parents questions about their schooling and the grades that they reached up to, I was like, wow, so I could quit school like grade 4? I could quit school at grade 3? But I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why till I was 19 and moved to Ottawa. And I worked at the Native Center, and my coworker was Native, and she was a residential school survivor. And she's the one that told me about all that stuff, teaching me all about residential schools. And it was pretty interesting because that's when I was like, then I thought about my parents. And I was like, oh my God, my parents must have went through that. They went through that. So I went home and told my parents like what I learned, and they're like, yeah, we went to those schools. And so that's how I learned about residential school, was my co-worker at the French Center in Ottawa. So for learning that, then I start doing the research. I started asking my parents more questions and understanding. So it gave me an understanding why my grandpa was an alcoholic, why my parents were alcoholics. But you know, they were my dad made a decent living we weren't poor or anything. He made a good living and supported his family, had a house in town, and off we went to school. But sometimes when I was going to school, when I was getting like in those teenage years, I would be skipping school, and he would come home and from work and say like, oh, my mom would say, yeah, she skipped school today with some friends, and then he wouldn't get mad at me, but I'd be downstairs trying to hide, and he was, Dennis, get upstairs, come upstairs, and I'm there like, Dennis means daughter. And then he said, why did you skip school? Like, he sat me down, and I'm there sitting there and like thinking he's so mad, he's gonna get mad at me, but he didn't. He's just said, just go to school. Just go to school. And then he goes, I wish I had a school like yours. And I'm there like thinking like, why would he say that? Like, it's just like any probably school is boring there. I go like, and then I said, yeah, I'll go to school. Then the second time, like I did a couple of times, and then he kept on saying these words to me, saying one day you'll learn their language and use it against them. And now I understood what he meant by that. Like now that I'm older and understanding and learning about the system, our family history, why our families were alcoholics, why other people were other families, like when I started working, we had the same experiences. And we're like, at that age, we're still learning. Even with my friend from out east, she would still learn about we had the same upbringing. But she was on a reserve, I was in a small town. So, it was pretty similar, and we, so that's when we started doing, my parents did attend ceremonies and start learning ceremonies, and then I had my own family, had my own children, and start again returning back to our roots, our culture. I'm not fluent in Cree, but when my dad speaks in Cree, I can understand a bit of them. When my parents, my mom's gone now, she's been gone for about 11 years, so when she was, she taught me everything. When I had questions, and like kids would say things to me in which I didn't understand, and she would teach me things. So what to say to them, but in a nice way, not going out fisting or she would teach me how to respond to people. And teach me like, why did these people are mean? Like, I didn't understand that, and she taught me a lot. So that's what my name means, and where my parents raised us in Cochrane, which is the hometown of Tim Horton, by the way. I just like to say that, and then finally Cochrane got a Tim Horton after so many years, and the hockey player. My dad's a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. So anyway, we still maintain our culture and heritage through all the healing process that we have done, that many families are doing, and we're still learning. And my clan is Wolf Clan. I'm a traditional grandmother, and that means that's what with the medicine wheel we have a circle of life. So we have the babies coming, the youth, and the adults, and then the grandparent stage, which is each life as we grow up. It's a rites of passage. So the rites of passage is ceremonial, like the first year of the walking out ceremony. And I'm Cree, by the way, so each nation will be different. So I encourage people to learn about their history, about the medicine wheel, about the ceremonies that they do in their own culture, because some cultures may be different. With the Cree people, we do a walking out ceremony in the first year when the baby starts walking. And then there's a ceremony process. And then the youth, the berry stage, the berry fast. And the adults, we're fasting, we're doing ceremonies, and then when we reach the grandmother stage is when we reach menopause. When we reach menopause, that's the grandmother stage, and then we do a rites of passage of fasting. I did mine, and people are different. It varies. It depends when you go in ceremony and how many days, how many hours, or how many. But the grandmother stage, mine was 4 days long. And it happened on around November, I want to say 11 years ago, but it was in 2013. I did my grandma, I want to say 10 years ago, but now it's more than 10 years. It was 2013 that I did my grandmother fast, and I did it for 4 days. And when you're going out fasting, we pray, we offer tobacco, we seek direction, and we pray and we sing, and we're fasting, and we pay attention to what's coming in, what's coming around, what kind of animals are coming, because these animals are carrying messages and meaning, like, and you enhance your, like, you hone your spiritual tools, your spiritual gifts that you have, that you were born with, we were all born with. And then, you know, listening to, getting guidance and things like that. So I did mine for 4 days, and I prayed, and during that time when I was in the fasting ceremony, there was a full moon. So it was really nice. I go, okay, full moons, like, what else do we do? How do we honor? You know, stuff like that. I was asking questions while I was fasting, other than just saying my prayers. I was like, hey, what do we have to do in this, and what do we have to do? So then my last prayer was the ceremonies to return to our people. And I just said, like, the ceremonies have to return to our people, or we have to return to our ceremonies to have the healing process, being on the healing, to be better versions of ourselves from yesterday and my youth and stuff. Because I'm going into the grandmother stage. I'm now a grandmother, you know, with the stage of menopause. So, and at that time, so after the ceremony, like, there's a process of it, a feast and all that, and then the grandmother said, like, what did you pray for? And I go, lots, but she go, no, what did you pray for? And I said, okay, I asked the ceremonies to return to our people, and the people to return to the ceremonies. And she looked at me and she said, well, you're going to be the one doing the ceremonies. I'm like, like, you know, I'm going, I'm not ready yet. No, I'm not ready yet, you know, because I was learning at the time. And I was like, oh my God, okay. But I wasn't ready. And I told her, like, and I said, because I was much younger, like 10, 13 years ago, I was still in my late 40s, I go, well, people are not going to believe me, you know that? Because of my age, I look young or whatever. And she's like, you just have to say you are a traditional grandmother. That it means honoring that last life cycle you're in, meaning that I already accepted my next stage will be the spiritual realm. And I lived all through those 4 cycles, those previous 3 cycles. And that's an honor and that's a blessing, because some of us don't have that opportunity, or, you know, where, you know, and so I was like, wow. I go, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready. And she goes, there's going to be a time when you're going to have to say you're a traditional grandmother. So that time came. You know, I was like, different teachings, and I'm open to different teachings. I respect that. Respect is a universal law. It's the Creator's law, which no matter which race we are on that medicine wheel, the color of man, respect works at all level of beings, even with the animals, with birds and the water fish and all that. It's respect. And so even when we go into different territories, which the territories were implemented on us, before contact, we followed the constellations. We followed the migration of animals for survival and for our food, our clothing, and everything before contact. We followed the the constellations. We knew which is when the seasons. We knew how to read the land. We still do. I still do. Like sometimes, and my mom taught me that to read the weather. Like, you know, before you go outside. Oh, how's it look out there? So I look out and I say, yeah, okay, it's like cold, like, you know, and like, you know, we just know when it's damp, when it's how the day is going to be. So with that being said, we were still learning those, we still had those skills of survival, of that. And so those kind of skills, like my mom, like she taught me a lot, but my mom passed away 6 months later because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready being a grandmother with all this responsibility doing ceremonies till my mom passed 6 months, right on the 6th month, you know, in March. And that's when it hit me. When your matriarch is gone and you're the next in line, that's when it really hit my heart that now I understand what a traditional grandmother means. Because the matriarch, my mother's gone now, and she communicates with me. Like I am a healer, practitioner, meaning I do have the gifts when I do in ceremonies. Like today I just did a shake tent. So it was really beautiful, and to see these beings, spiritual messages, is still a blessing to me, to my heart, and to have that gift, the ability, and it's very humbling. It's like an honor, like to see them and thank them and do these ceremonies. And these ceremonies, like I find that we could, well, when I do them, I could do them just about anywhere, because it's a matter of life and death situations. And last night I did a workshop with the youth, and I explained with the medicines, yes, we have protocols, yes, we do, but when it comes to life and death situations, we have to do what we need to do in that moment. And I know I've done a few, and the people, like you know, my family members, they're still with us today, my son, my niece and all that, you know. They're still with us, so I'm very grateful for that knowledge and saying, yes, I am a traditional grandmother. And, you know, and mind you, I still dye my hair, like, you know, because I'm not ready to go gray yet. You know, like, because it's there, and we always had those things for us even back then. So yes, so being a traditional grandmother, that life cycle, that's what I want to talk about, the stages where I touch based on it, the rites of passages of these. So just learn what nation you're from, seek guidance, go to ceremony, because the spirits, the ancestors will let you know and guide you what you need to do in that life cycle, you know, so to honor your life, to honor who you are, to honor your own spirit and nourish your own spirit, to walk on Mother Earth and into this system, is to help balance that, to know who we are as Nishnawbeg people. When I say Nishnawbeg people, I mean all nations, not just the Cree people, because just that's the way we describe the human beings, the connection of the land. So for that, and then during the past, like 2013, I said, you know, I received a pipe, I received teachings, and one of your elders taught me one of the ceremonies that I did today. Hear that voice and those gifts that you have, your responsibilities, and, you know, especially with my youngest child, my baby. So yeah, he's fine now, you know, because of the ceremonies that I've done. And then especially during the COVID, oh my God, how do I do that ceremony? I don't have this, I don't have that. And then calm down, we'll guide you through this, and they have. So now we do these ceremonies, like I do them, and I got asked earlier, just before I came here, someone asked me to do naming ceremonies. So now I do naming ceremonies and all kinds of ceremonies, fasting ceremonies, grandmother fast ceremonies with women that are ready, like the menopause stage, that reach that, even though you don't have children. Because I do have some friends who don't have children, but they are still in the grandmother stage because of that. They no longer have their moon time. So they still honor those 4 life cycles, you know, and we accept that the next realm would be the spiritual realm, and I'm looking forward to that. I tell you, like, you know, I am, because I know it's a good place, and our loved ones go, but we need to learn here as human beings, connect with Mother Earth, and that is an honors thing that a spirit can experience as a human being, is being connected with Mother Earth, the moon, the grandmother moon, and the sun especially, you know, and the whole universe. We are so gifted, and it's just going out there on the land and connect with the spirits and things like that. So that's how I learned, and I understood now, like things that I didn't know then that I know now. And I am still learning. My spirit name is Wachi Medowin, meaning mountain song. When my brother passed away about 20 years ago, no, 24 years ago now, I went to Colorado, and I took a tour bus up to the mountains, and I climbed. I literally ran up to the tip where the platform was, and I ran up there just to understand, because that was my first experience having a loss, like a sibling, to accept the fact that he was gone, because I went as high up. And the elevation, one of the highest mountains there around Denver. And, you know, I had to do that for myself because I was grieving, and I was not in the community where I was before, active in the community, active in helping, volunteering and stuff. But after my first brother died, passed away, I didn't understand, and that's when I started receiving message, like I knew something was wrong, and that's when the gifts started coming back. When you remember these gifts, even as a kid, like I remember things when I was a child, seeing, and then I was telling my sisters at one time, I go, I must have scared Mom a couple of times when I was like 4 or 5 years old, telling her, you know, she probably that meaning ghost, meaning the spirit, and then she was like, no, there's nothing there. I go, yes, he's there, and I'm like, so when you understand these, and then doing the healing work, and understanding our ways, our cultural ways, and our connections with other spiritual beings, because we have a lot of others before contact. We were in contact with these spiritual beings that was helping and coexisting with one another until this all started happening, because people were killing each other. That wasn't Creator's law. And so these spiritual beings went and disconnect, like they continue on doing what they need to do, but they saw what we were doing and did not. Now they're coming back. And like I said, the spiritual beings in your teachings, again, it's different for each Indigenous people around the world. We all have these connections with the interdimensional spiritual beings. And like for us, it's the little people, most common one. Even with the Irish people, they call them leprechauns. In our language, whatever, they are translated to the little people, no matter what nation you're from. And that being said, then of course the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, and so that's what I want to share about that, with my experience with them. I always knew they existed. I always knew, because we just know. Like when I was younger, it wasn't no surprise. Like it was, we just knew. I guess my parents talked about them, or my cousins, whatever. But my first time seeing one was when I was about 18, 19. I was back in the car and I saw this big tree stump and it started moving. I'm like, then I saw it, then I'm going, oh! Then my look in my face, my sister was like, what did you see? And I'm looking straight. I saw Bigfoot. And she goes, I believe you. I go, yeah. I thought it was a big tree stump at first, and then it started walking. I didn't even know about where it happened too. It happened like, because I'm from Cochrane, it happened near Temagami. And back then we thought that they were only in BC. That's the myth of things, because people were seeing them along that coast. But no, they are everywhere. They're where I'm from. Like, they come into towns, they come into parks, they come everywhere, you know. And yeah, I can spot a Bigfoot track anywhere. I'm a good tracker, and I think that's the DNA in me, being a tracker. Our ancestors being good trackers back then. Yeah, I could just spot them. Like, I could just be walking and, oh yeah, there's one there. Like, it's become a norm to me. Oh yeah, there's one there. But now with that teaching, with the teaching of them, is like, when I first contact with them about a couple years ago, they were like 30, 40 feet or 50 feet away from me, but they were in there, and he was like this, and then go, hey, I see you, you can't hide from me. I go, like, you know, and because I was doing a pipe ceremony, I already felt safe. There was no fear, because I knew I said, well, just come pray with me. And I raised my pipe. So that's the picture I'm holding that you have in that poster. Is my painting that I did when he was there, and I raised my pipe at him. So, and I told him, okay, just come pray with me. And I raised that pipe, and then when I lit my pipe, he moved to a bushier area, and then I had my grandson's pipes there. And so you could come smoke one of these pipes, and then you could hear that voice. Oh, that's too small. Then I go, okay, yeah, I guess they are. I start having a normal conversation, started communicating without even thinking. When you hear, oh yeah, they are small, and because they're my grandson's pipes, and start talking like that, and then they said, make a bigger one, make us a bigger one. I go, okay. So my friend made a replica of a huge pipe, like she did. So my other friend and I, after that was done, we went to the same site by the Ottawa River, and we did a gifting ceremony, because they wanted a rattle too. And so I told my friend, she's a pipe carrier as well, and a grandmother. I told her, yeah, we need to do this. We need to do this honoring gifts to them. We're gifting that pipe and the rattle. So I said, so let's just do our pipe ceremony. They're going to come around. Don't look. Like, just don't look. Like, don't, because she was like this at first. I go, just do you. Like, just be you. Just smoke your pipe. So she did, but she did end up seeing them. And then after we were done our pipe ceremony, we could hear the rattle. So they're like, oh, okay, they're thanking us, like, because you got that communication. So they did that, and then after I started painting them, and that's where the story comes, right? When I started painting them, I never painted before. So that painting was probably my third painting. I went there the next day because I saw him. I was all excited. Oh my God, I wonder if they'll come by again. So I go, yeah, I got to do ceremony. I got to make an offering. So I went out there again. So he bought an older one with them. It was just one day. Then he bought the older one. And I was calling him the elder for quite a bit of time. He said he didn't like that. He goes, call me Musha, meaning grandfather, because he was the grandfather of the clan. And then I said, I want to meet your clan mother. Because I knew they live in clans. For some reason, I did know. And I said, I want to meet your clan mother. And the next time I went, I made an offering I'll bring some offerings and stuff and the gifts. And then she came. you know, and then the grandmother came, and then the last one that showed themselves in the clan, because they're a clan system there. So you got the one who protects the clan, the grandfather, the Mushim, the Kokum, and the clan mother and the leader, and then the other ones are like members of the clan, and they have each of the responsibilities, just like us. We have a responsibility of our clans, and same with them. And they do hunt and fish and things like that. I seen like I could read tracks, and they show me their story of what they've done here, you know, and what just by the tracks, and because you can see their handprints in them. They're sitting like this, like, you know, at the shoreline, waving their feet. So stuff like that. And I'm not a researcher, because I do ceremony, and they also come in spirit and ceremony, which I already knew that, but that was first time seeing them in the physical with us like this, and communicating with them, and then I started painting them. And I never painted before, and I just started painting them, like, okay, because my grandson told me. My grandson's a little messenger, that he gives me messages without him realizing he is giving me these messages. And then he did that a couple of times, I've noticed, and for them having their pipes at 4 and 5 years old, that was reviving the ceremonies, because he was 5 years old and he smoked a pipe, you know, like, and he knew what to do. He didn't cough or nothing, like he wanted to go, okay, it's your pipe, you know. And then he smoked it. He smoked the pipe. So yeah, they had their pipes at 4 and 5. So me learning that, reviving our ceremonies, teaching the young ones and things like that. And then when I was doing ceremonies during COVID, my son was joining me in pipe ceremonies, smoking a pipe. So that was really nice to see, and really proud, like, okay, because 2 of my sons are half Caucasian, and I didn't push our culture on them, because I wanted them to choose. I wanted them to be who they are. I wanted for them to find their way, right? And then when they're ready, I'll teach them. And they have, like my second one, his father's Algonquin, like, so he's full. And so they have all their spirit names and stuff like that. So it's really cool to revive those ceremonies with them, and teaching my grandchildren the land and all that. And then them, the Bigfoot. And then after painting the clan and painting that one, that's me doing a pipe ceremony, and then me raising my pipe, and he was there. His name is Tuktalevit. And I don't know what that means, but they have names, and they don't look the same. All Bigfoots are the same, are different, just like us. They're another nation. They're another indigenous nation to Mother Earth. That's who they are there. Even though the DNA studies showed there is human DNA, but the other known is unknown. So science is catching up to the spirituality. I want to say that because before I didn't support science. I was like, science always wants to prove something. But they can't accept the spirituality. Then, of course, one of the messages and lessons for me is someday you're going to work with science. And I'm like, do I have to? And yes, you do have to. The guidance of that. So now, I found a researcher who did the DNA testing on the Bigfoot Sasquatch. And that's her findings, So I support that. And so when I started painting the clan, my friend told me, Judy, I see your art in art galleries. I'm like, oh yeah. I go, I'm not going to sit around and wait for that. Because I'm I just want to do things and well, why sit around and wait for that? I told her, because she's an artist too. And she complimented my art, that my art's not too bad as for a beginner. And yeah, when you see my artwork, you won't even think that. I just started painting at that time. That was probably my third or fourth one. I have about 20 of them now, art pieces. And my art pieces is my interactions with them. So when she told me about the art, I said, okay, no, we're Nishnawbeg women. We're resilient. We are strong. We are leaders. We are mothers. We are grandmothers. Let's do our own art exhibit. So that's the planning of the conference I was talking to you about. So I do a Bigfoot conference every year now, art exhibit, based on the art, my art. And then our little group, I said, well, what do you want to call ourselves? And before that, I created a hashtag Sackanay art because it was just based on the Bigfoot paintings I was doing. And they said, what about Sackanay art? You created that. I go, but that's my last name. Are you sure? They say, yeah, because this conference is going to be based on your art. And why not? I go, okay, as long as you're okay, that is my last name, and I'm okay with it. So we had a little collective group of artists there. There was 3 of us. Now it's like growing, and I have different artists each year to help with the conference. But me being the main artist with my my artwork and my interactions with them, and I'm just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, my artwork, and I'm still learning, you know. So that's about the story sharing that I can do, and the legacy I'm leaving behind for my generations to come, because that conference is our 3rd one now. So, you know, it's like, and I added the word Wahaktoan, meaning all other spiritual beings that we share, we coexist here on Mother Earth. And all nations have those other beings in their countries around the world, or Mother Earth. So with that being said, now these other little beings are showing around, like little people are showing me things, and the star people, and coming and visit, and me knowing who I am, my history. So, you know, and other stories, like the history of you, the history of spirit. So in my work, I do that with people. Like I do past life regressions. Sometimes they call it past life regressions, but I just tap in. Okay, I have this problem, and I would pick up the energy and say, okay, that's a past life you're bringing into this life. So do you mind if I go in and talk to this person? Or even with me, you know, I love this one past life I have. She loves jazz music, but she's sitting there with her love of her life, and every time I hear the jazz music, I could see her, and she's very elegant, and she's Caucasian because of the skin tone, and I could tell, like, you know, and she's like moving her hands and smoking those long cigars, and then like this, and go, no wonder but I quit smoking now. So I go, okay, I don't want to smoke anymore. I'm quitting now. So it's been like 5 months. So now I notice, like, she's just moving her hands without that cigarette. It's so weird. It's so crazy. But with the jazz music, it comes. The memory comes. That past life comes. But I like it, and I don't want to do anything about it. I just love I just love watching her. What she's showing me, what she's doing, and she's sitting there enjoying the meal with the person. But the person I see, I can't see him because he's wearing a hat. So I can't see who it is, but I know the energy of love, you know. So that's one thing. And some people don't believe, and that's fine, you know. You don't want to believe that, that's fine. People are entitled to their own beliefs, and again, respect, because even with me doing Bigfoot events and saying my interactions with them, they are in our culture. They are teaching. So people that's going to ridicule me or whatever, I'm not even worried about that, but it just projects themselves and get back to their culture and their teachings, because that's their main message, is they want us to return to our culture and our teachings and get out there, because we're spending too much time on laptops or on phones and stuff like that. And so they want us to get out there and connect, and they'll start appearing to help them. The conference name is like my brother-in-law who's fluent in Cree. I ask him, like, I go, how do you say heal? I'm looking for a name for the conference. And he goes, how do you say like this in Cree? How do you say that in Cree? He goes, what are you trying to say? I don't know. I was trying to say something like healing. They're here to heal us. And he goes, then he said something in Cree so beautiful. He said, oh, gee, I'm still learning how to say it. Oh, geez, and that was so awesome. I go, oh my God. So he told me, go out to see your friends and talk to them, and they'll understand. You're going to understand what it means. And so I went out there, did what he guided me to do, and they were coming. I go, well, this is what I'm going to name the conference. And, is that good? Like, and they're nodding, yes, it is good. I go, okay, even though it's in Cree, but it's in our own language, in our own teachings. Because Gitchasabi in Ojibwe means something else. I don't know, but it means something else other than just a Bigfoot. You know what I mean? So even with Ochiskacho, like, it means Bigfoot, but we know it's a spiritual being. So even our language, then there comes our language, the that means like from the Creator, from Mother Earth, and from the heart and the universe. That's why the syllabics are pointing like downwards, upwards. The sounds comes from those Mother Earth, the heart. Like po-pa, like Creator, because you're bringing the Creator's energy into that language. So that's why our language is very important, and I learned that off from a language teacher in Ojibwe when she told me that. Then I said, is that why, like the Cree syllabics are the same, like can we apply that? And she goes, yes, because that's our language, the sounds, like the means the heart. So our language is coming from the heart when we pronounce those, or Creator, or Mother Earth, or those directions. So that's pretty neat to learn and to understand. I encourage people to do that research. Go out and research, and you're going to see, learn the syllabics. You're going to see it pointing down, the shape, the syllabic pointing down. And also with Bigfoot, like Sasquatch, they too have a language, and they use glyphs, the sticks, and I'm still learning those messages. And they leave me one all the time, and they're outside of my yard, they're in my backyard, they're everywhere. One time I was sitting in Moosonee train station, and my sister goes, okay, I'm going to go get some stuff, I'll wait here with the stuff. And I'm there sitting there, I look down, there's a Bigfoot track right there at the train station. I'm there like, oh my God. And in that track, there's a rock shape as a heart, like a heart-shaped rock. And they're like, okay, thank you for this gift, and we're going to have a good week. And we did have a good week, So stuff like that. But now when I bring people out to the land, they're like, some of my friends say, yeah, Judy, I want to come out with you. That doesn't mean you're going to see them. Because they know, they'll tell me. They'll tell me when you're scared. And even though one wants to see them, because one shocked my friend one time. Like, he was in shock. He didn't. I was like driving him home, and, well, did you see my friends? And he goes, okay. And that's all he said. And he just looked straight ahead, like he was in shock. So they give a lesson. It's a lesson for everyone when they see them, and they show them in different ways. So like either the track, or the tree break, or a glyph. Like, if you go out with someone who understands or could connect with them to help you understand, Even a Bigfoot track, if you see one, just put your hand over the track and you're going to feel the energy. And that's the healing that you need. Whatever that you need that day, because everyone's different. So the little people, them too, they've been always around. We know that. Like, they hide your keys and stuff like that. It's so crazy funny, but them too, you know, and the star beings, and which means the aliens, the mermaids. I did hear stories of people from up north, like Treaty 9 territory, telling me their stories about the mermaids and that they saw one. So all these mythical things they took from our teachings, from any indigenous teachings, you know, and they want to minimize and say they're magical or myths and all that, because those language. Oh, sorry, I had my alarm on. That was my wake up time from my naps in the afternoon, so I don't end up sleeping all night. If I have a nap late in the day, I put it on. Okay, I gotta get up at 7. So one time I slept all through my nap, and I go, oh my God, it just threw me off. But yeah. So with that being said, like, being connected in your own culture, and we're still learning, like, even other beings are coming forward through these portals, whatever, and that's what we're going to be teaching at the conference, how to protect ourselves, how to identify, how to prepare, you know, what is real and what is not real, like, you know, so stuff like that. So I also do that in my sessions as well with people, the past life readings and things like that. I do cedar tea leaf readings. We did an event last week, and that was first time. If anybody else can do cedar tea leaf readings, like, let me know, because they were telling me, yeah, that was the first time ever someone ever used that, because it's usually used black tea leaf readings from the Oriental people, but we always been doing them too. The seers in the medicine people in our clans, they knew. So I was guided to do that like 10 years ago. So the tea leaf reader taught me and told me, yeah, you're going to do this too someday. I go, I am. And she was teaching me right there on the spot where I was really wanting to get a reading. So far I've been 100%. It's really cool. It's really fun. And it's a positive. I like that. It's positive messages that comes through validations and stuff. So when our seers, like even back then, they used, like, they shake rocks, or they drink the tea and read the leaves or the rocks, or even the glyphs on the tree branches and stuff like that. So that's how we know, like, how we understand the language through spirit connecting, using those objects as well to convey the message to the person who comes for the healing. So, and plus when they do a cedar tea leaf reading, it's the person drinking it, so they're putting their energy, and plus getting the medicinal of the cedar tea. So it's healing them as well. And then afterwards, when we do that, and then I do a method, I shake it, whatever comes, the message, how to turn their cup, or they're saying they're a backwards person, I'll turn my other cup. That I need to reverse something, I have to. Like, I listen to spirit, they guide me. Especially if it's, I found out with the reversing the cup is like turning something positive. If it's a negative, it's something positive for them, for the person. So yeah, so I do that too, the cedar tea leaf readings. I've been learning that for past probably like 15 years now. Yeah, 2010 when I went doing more, and then I start practicing on friends, and then that's when you start doing this, because you too, like even me, I have to build my confidence. Like, you know, what if I'm wrong? And I'll stop that. You gotta let it flow and let the energy flow, and just read as you see it, and the messages coming through for this person to help them, either validate them or help them, guide them to make a better decision for themselves, or validation, more like a validation, because that's when we question ourselves. Oh, should I go? Should I do this? And then I'll say, oh yeah, I see you taking a plane trip, and oh yes, I was planning to take, but I was thinking, yeah, they're saying take a plane trip, like this is what you're getting. So I have the person realizing that you gotta trust yourself, your own intuition. So that's what I do to validate things with those tea leaf readings, or could be something new. It's always different, eh? Everyone's different, because we are all different, our own spirit. Even twins, but that's why twins could feel each other, the energies, because of the connections that they were in the room at the same time. So so even that. So there's teachings on that, and triplets, and I knew a woman, I think she had triplets, I believe, or I can't remember. It was a lot quadruplets, I think. I just saw her. I should have asked her, but I remember asking her, like, how's your babies doing? Because I used to babysit for her. And then, so, there's teachings on that, and of things like that. So that's where I am, and also, I learned about medicines. I learned how to harvest, when to pick it, how to read the land, read when it's ready, because it depends where you are in the environment. It could be different, up north, say for instance, the poplar buds will be ready. They're just probably sprouting up north, but down here they're done. We miss the harvest because they blow out, they flourish into leaves. So there's times when we need to that's why it's important to learn how to read the weather and go checking up on the medicines and their stages. Because when it's like a butterfly, when their stages are going to be. Same with plants when we're harvesting. And sometimes we can manifest them too. You gotta trust your heart, you gotta trust your spirit. When you really need the medicine, you can manifest things. So that's what, try it. Just pray and pray and pray, and then you're going to see some magical things happen, and amazing things happen. For the longest time I wanted to quit smoking, and finally I did, because I was enjoying that. I wasn't a very heavy smoker anyway, but still I managed to get rid of it, because I'm getting older now. So I'm thinking about my health, and now I have grandchildren too. I do have 4 grandchildren. So that's really a blessing when my first grandson was born. And I was like, wow. I have 2 sisters who are great-grandmothers. And I'm there like, I want to be a great-grandmother now. I'm just having that. So we have 5 generations in my family right now, with my dad, my sister, her daughter, her son, and then his son. So 5 generations that happened twice now in my family. So that's an honor thing, it's an honoring thing to have that happen, and to see it, and how far we become of healing. Because when I changed my lifestyle in my early 30s, about 30, my son's upbringing was different from mine, and now my grandchildren are, my son doesn't drink or smoke, so they live in they never see violence, they as where me, I heard it, but I never saw it, but still it's I knew what was going on, I knew it was wrong. So, but I dealt with that with my dad when I was 19. So with that being said, and seeing, and I'm learning, making those changes, getting rid of the alcohol, and I was never, I didn't use drugs, so it was just the alcohol, and then quit that, and because I wanted to change that cycle, because when I was going in school, they're saying, once your parents are alcoholics, you are alcoholics, and it goes on and on and on. I'm there like, not with me. I'm going to change that, and it starts with me, and that's returning to our culture and our ceremonies. So that's the message I wanted to share. With returning back to the land, returning, and things like that. Yeah. So I'm getting hot here. I still, even though I do like the menopause, like after like 10 years, you still go through some hot flashes, and so yeah. So medicines like that.
Amazing. Okay, so Miigwech for sharing.
Yeah, I hope I shared enough, and I think I didn't even touch half, but I know there's other ceremonies and the stars, and oh my God, there's so much. Like there's so much to learn. There's so much. I didn't even touch on the constellations, our star maps, and even that, like even the sabis all the animals are up there. So yeah.
No, absolutely, and we're so grateful this evening to have you be able to share just what you brought so far. And I know there's so much underneath, and there's so much that exists, but we're so grateful for the stories that you have shared with us this evening, and we can definitely move into our open forum of this part of the evening. So basically, just listening to what you've been sharing this evening, like something that kind of came up for me was around our goal here at Finding Our Power Together is to end preventable death by suicide, and we do a lot of grounding land-based activities, land-based ceremonies. Last year we had a land-based healing camp. So when I hear you talk about ceremony and having to do it right away, or bring ceremony to that person that needs it, for folks who are disconnected from their culture, specifically maybe in urban areas, how would you maybe suggest or encourage folks to be able to go back to land, go back to ceremony?
Okay. When I went to see a grandmother in Six Nations, and she told me, she knew where, she saw the path I was on, and she said, she put me in the ceremony, and the spirits were saying, the ancestors saying, oh, you got to go into the bush and connect with the spirits, with the trees, with the grass, and the birds and the animals that's going to come and see you. And then right away, my mind was like, wow, I live in the city, because I lived in Toronto. And I'm like, how? And I didn't have a vehicle at that time. And I'm like, how am I going to go in the bush? And then they responded, you go in the park. You go in the park. And I go, oh, okay. So after that, I came back, we live in Scarborough, and I start going in the park. And I sat there, and I prayed. And now I understood, listening to the spirits around you, and then you could start feeling the frequencies and the vibrational and the languages, and it was just all happening at once, okay? And listening to, even connecting with the blade of grass, even the tree that I was sat in front of, and listening, paying attention to the birds and the bees and all this stuff that was coming. I did not been afraid, especially with the bees, the bumblebees coming around. I did not go like that. So I just say, okay, I'm human. Do not sting me. I understand the lesson, and I will learn, and I'll learn about you. And just don't sting me. And this bumblebees I got stung by a dead bumblebee one time. But anyway, because my sister and I were wrestling, and there was a dead one out there in the blankets, and I thought she was poking me with something, and I go, what are you poking me with? And she goes, I'm not poking you with it. Yeah, you got a needle or something, and you're poking me, and we were play fighting, right? And then she goes, I'm not poking, and she raised her hands, and then we lift the sheets, the blankets, and sure enough, there's a dead bumblebee there. So that was poking me, in wrestling, but going out to the park, going out to, paying attention to the trees, pay attention to the wind, the elements, the sky, the birds, everything. And yeah, I've been doing so much. I even got into falconry, because I want to bring falconry back to our people, because falconry is a way of hunting. We use the birds of prey to hunt. And also I wanted to use the birds of prey to help the people heal. So I took falconry, and my son needed me to recover, so I stayed. I'm still helping my son, so I want to go back to falconry, because when I was doing falconry with my trainer, he's like, "Oh my God, Judy, you're such a natural." And I go, "Yeah, it's in my blood memory, man." I go, the birds, you gotta know how to connect with the birds, and so I was walking with a hawk every day, and then the sobbies were in the bush, and I'm like, "Yeah, I named him Sobby." I go, I named my hawk Sobby. So yeah, I was with that, but my hawk, he was a cheater because we couldn't get the weight. We were wondering why he was not obeying, with the and he goes, "Oh, go put him back on the perch." So we were watching him. Me and the trainer were talking, and then we see my little Sobby jump on the ground, and he grabbed something from the ground. It was worms. So he was eating worms, and we're like, and then my trainer's, "That little bugger, he's eating worms. That's why he's not listening what we want him to do." He wouldn't. He was a little stubborn bird, and he knew, but so we had to put him on higher ground where there was no worms. So so I learned falconry, and I do want to bring it back, because I do want to bring the birds of prey back, like the hawks and the owls and things like that, for people to do their own healing, connecting with these birds of prey. And they do hunt, so that's what I want to do. And plus my last name, as a shapeshifter, the last one he appeared was the hawk. So that's how I'm connected with those birds of prey, and that's what I mean by bringing these ceremonies back, because they and to let you know, if I don't want to say this really, but when you're status Indian, the Ministry of Natural Resources, we do not have to go through the Ontario falconry. The MNR told me you don't need a license. But they was like, "But you're not going to go out there and get these birds." I go, "Well, of course not. I'm going to get training first. I'm not going to go and get a bird." But sometimes people can, if you really want to connect with them, you could have a falconer's glove and go like this, and they'll eventually come. It's called manning, and if they get used to you and get the falconering glove, because you need a glove, because their claws are really sharp. One time I was practicing the tie on the bird, and he clipped me here, and little one dot, he clipped me. He caught me. He went, and it just felt like a little poke, but it bled. It bled lots, and then my falconer, and I was trying to hide it from my falconer, trying to put pressure on it, and because I didn't want him to stop the training, I still want to go, but I go, "Oh, please," and then he goes, "What happened, Judy?" I go, "Well, I kind of annoyed him, because I was going like this. It wasn't that he was attacking me. My hand was a replica to a small mouse or squirrel, like this, moving, and because I was doing the knots, and with that movement, he thinks it's a small, so he was trying to grab it. So that's what he was doing. He wasn't attacking me. And when you start the training of the falconry, you'll understand. And if you can't dissect a bird for the food for your falconer, then you are not ready to be a falconer, because only people that can do that, because there's a lot of work into it, especially feeding your bird. If you can't dissect a bird, another smaller bird, for the food for your bird, your bird of prey, then if it's grosses you out, then you are not a falconer, because you need to do that and learn that to feed your bird. Otherwise, your bird's going to die, because you're not going to cut the food right. So that's what I'm going to say to the people. If you can stand that, if you can dissect a bird or a rat for your bird of prey, because it's like feeding your baby. You have to feed your baby, but if something grosses you out that you can't do it, oh no, I can't do it. Like, my Faulkner teacher said, yeah, one girl couldn't. She goes, oh no, I can't do this, and she wasn't looking, so he ended the training. You are not ready. You can't do this for your bird, because your bird will die if he doesn't get the right nutrition, the protein in him. And I when I was younger, like I used to watch my mom skin rabbits or clean goose, like gutted them out and everything, and even watching them cut up the moose, like it didn't bother me because it was the humbleness of that animal that gave its life for us to survive. And me watching my mom skin the rabbit and cleaning it up and like, oh yeah, I just watched it like, like she was teaching me. And she was teaching me what was edible, which was the whole thing, but except for the other part, the digestive system. You don't eat that part, but the liver and all that and the heart you can't eat, she said, and sometimes it's a delicacy of the brain, some fish and all that stuff. It may sound gross, but it's survival that you need to learn in case something happens, like, and that's why I said our people knew how to survive on the land and things like that. So get to learn the land, get to read the weather without looking at the weather network. That's where you could practice too. Go read it and then go look at weather network. You're going to see, to practice that. To practice going out in the land, going and just sitting there and quiet, because you're sitting on Mother Earth. Even though you're sitting on a blanket, you're still sitting on Mother Earth. So that, to answer your question, I hope that helps people, is go out to a park, go out to the lake, go out to the shore, go to the beach, sit in quiet and quiet your mind, not think about things. I had to do that yesterday, so this morning too. So I changed the energy, I flipped it. So, to positive instead of like, oh my God, like, because I was just thinking, and then, no, you gotta raise their vibrational energy. That will reflect on the day that you're gonna have. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was really great.
Yeah.
I'll pass it to folks in the room and even folks online. If you guys have a question, this is definitely the time now to ask.
Yeah. I have a few.
Amazing.
So I know earlier you mentioned like being like a traditional grandmother and how like that's like kind of like a rite of passage and a stage. Is there also like a stage for men to become like a grandfather? And like,
I asked that question, and yes, there is, and I haven't received any guidance on that yet, or I'm going to bring that into ceremony, because I did not mention that I do new moon ceremonies, and there's full moon ceremonies where it's the women that do the full moon ceremonies because of the full moon. It's the feminine energy. Right? The new moon, which I got to see a new moon one time, about 10 years ago. I was coming from Ottawa to Toronto, and I saw the moon. I knew it was the moon, but it looked different. And then like, I pulled over and I was like just in awe. I go, I know that's the moon, but why does it look different? Why am I seeing this like this? It was covered, and I asked the grandmothers, I asked them, what is that? And there's about maybe 7 of them came in. So that is the new moon. That is to honor the masculine energy. And I go, wow, is there ceremonies to do with that? And they showed me the ceremonies. Yes, you write down, you do everything, what you want to manifest, what you need to let go, what to honor that masculine energy. Even though I was like a woman, we still carry that balance. Because when, I'm sure all of us played sports at one time, the masculine energy comes out within us, but the physical aspect is different, but the energy is still there. So when I said, okay, so I kept it to myself for a couple of years. I was doing this new moon ceremony honoring the masculine energy. And then when the COVID, everybody was staying home. Everybody was like, all like this. Didn't know what to do. Didn't know where to go. They're, cabin fever. And I told my coworker, and then that's when I got the message, time to share that new moon ceremony. So I told my coworker, okay, she goes, what are the ceremonies we can do? Well, let's do the new moon ceremony. And then we did, and we had our first one is honoring them. It's different from the masculine, the full moon, but the new moon is honoring the masculine. And that's when, like, the men, and the full moon teachings that I received too, the men could attend and they have their roles, honoring their feminine energy. Because, my cousin, like, he was like, Judy, I know I'm not two-spirit, but I feel like the feminine in me sometimes, and like, I love women, like, don't get me wrong, I'm going, you know what, you don't have to explain, I understand. Because you have the feminine energy, and that's what you need to honor, so you could do that during the full moon. And he understood, so I taught him how to do the full moon water, the moon water, and so he did it, and now he goes, I understand now. So during the full moon, I do the moon water as well. It's different. The new moon is different. We don't do the moon water. So yeah, I wanted to mention that I do the new moon, and I don't know if any other Native person. If there is, let me know, and then we could combine the ceremonies. We could build it up and seek more guidance, because it's just different each time, Like, even the ceremonies, like shake hand. Oh, do we need to sing a song? No, just gotta smudge them home. Yeah. Just smudge them before they go home. It's like you do what's guided. And so the new moon is that, honoring the masculine energy.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Another question. Okay, I have two, but I'll ask one for now. Have you ever dealt with someone, Indigenous or not, who doesn't believe in, like, the teachings or culture or knowledge that's being passed down? And, like, how have you dealt with, like, situations like that, especially in the midst of it all?
You mean if someone comes to me and say, I don't believe what you're saying or your teachings? I have. You mean like that? Like, yeah. A non-Native person?
Not Native or not.
Okay. Yeah, like, people are entitled to believe what they want to believe, and I don't try to convince or persuade them, and I know that, because everyone has a different life path. And I did have a non-Native woman come to my booth, because I do vending too. Promoting the event and selling and fundraising things for the event. So when she came to my table and she saw the Bigfoot, the terrariums I had and the dream catchers and the soap and stuff like that, she's like, "Oh, do you really believe in that, Bigfoot?" she said. And I looked at her and I go, "Yeah, my name's Judy Sackaney. I'm Cree. I'm Treaty 9, from Treaty 9 to Territory Treaty 9, and they are part of our teachings, and our people did have a connection with them." And she's like, oh my God. She goes, "I did not know that." Her attitude changed. She was more intent to listen what I had to teach her, what they have to teach her as well. And she walked away with more knowledge and more respect. Then that was a lesson for her. You can't be rude like that, and to pose something that, if you tell me you saw a fairy, I don't have no right to say, "Oh, no, you did not." It's not my, so nobody has that right to tell you what you didn't see. Because they weren't there, they didn't see it with their own eyes, or they didn't feel that energy. You did. So I don't question people. But I think that answers your question, yeah? Okay.
And I guess my other question was, you spoke a lot about your generations and early, so you have 5 generations now in your family. And I guess what's like the biggest differences you find between the teachings and knowledge between the generations itself? I know you're saying like
From generation to generation.
It's definitely changed a lot in the past.
You gotta remember, my dad's like a residential school survivor, so he was punished for speaking his language. He was punished for, and now I understand why he didn't teach us the Cree language. But he spoke to us and we understood. But we're more of teaching him the English language. You know, still to this day, he tells me, I don't understand. He goes, you know, and then I try to explain like the English words to him. So I'm still teaching him. As for the culture, like he's the one that brought us to ceremonies, and he's the one that he's spiritual himself. I think he is of the gifts that he has, of what I understood, he was doing. We were going to ceremonies, so you know, and bringing that balance and surviving into the mainstream, what he had to do to take care of his family. So with me learning the intergenerational effects now, and me making that decision to quit everything, like quit the drinking because I got children to take care of, and I don't want my children to see what I've seen. So that's when the change starts with you. The changes that make you, the positive changes in your life, and then now you're going to see the difference. And like I said to you, my kids are half, so I made them make their own decisions, what they want to be, and now they love being Cree. They love saying, yes, I am Cree. I want to learn how to hunt. I want to learn how. So they're doing it themselves. They're learning things like that on their own. And me too, buying my 2 sons like those throwing knives, because that's how we used to hunt, with those blades of stones and throwing them, you know. So I bought them those throwing knives so they could hone their skills on that. And they loved it, because my oldest son is so hard to buy, you know. So when I saw those throwing knives, like I was just guided to go there. I was really looking for a compass, because he wanted to go hunting. So I said, well, he better have the tools to go, because whatever it is cloudy, and I didn't teach him that. What direction, if you're stuck in a bush, what direction do you follow? But I didn't tell him you could look at the plants. The more fuller, that's the more sun. The more it's the shade, so then you'll know the sun will go this way. So that's how you could tell. Like, there's so much of knowledge that we could, and skills that we need to learn just by watching the land that's teaching us, the trees, the whole cycle. But yeah, so that there, like my great nephew knows how to hunt and fish. So, you know, so it is returning. He stopped drinking. He doesn't drink or party, like, and then even my youngest son, they're not heavy drinkers. Like, you know, my youngest son, they may have a drink once in a while, but it doesn't consume them. You know what I mean? They don't allow it because they want to socialize with the friends, or whatever reason why they do it. It's up to them. I don't go there and say, don't do that. No, you can't come to me after 3 days. No, he is my son. I am going to take care of him. When he was under the influence and I saved his life, yes, I am going to do ceremony. Even though if he was high as a kite, you know, I am going to do ceremony. I'm not going to wait 3 days, or some protocols that are out there. Not to disrespect, but that's when we have to do the ceremonies, life and death situations. So with that, with the generations, yes, you know, and teaching my grandsons. So they had their pipes when they were 4 or 5. So you see how it's coming back. Just being born now is being more pure, connecting with their own spirit of who they are, because they're not getting baptized. They're not getting these religions, things that were imposed upon our people. We are no longer that anymore. But people have a choice to choose whatever. But these little babies that are being born now are being poorer than ever because they're not going through the baptism and stuff, which is like a ritual. So once we learn things like that and do our own ways, and now like with my friend, how do we do that? How do we turn, and then we're getting messages like the downloads and say, oh, I know how to do a birthing now. Like when I was pregnant, after my birth, I always wanted to see this placenta. I didn't know why. I didn't know how, why, and the doctors and nurses thought it was weird. And I said, I want to see my placenta. If I would have known then what is done, the ceremony, what I know now, then I would have kept it and did the ceremony. But I wanted to see it because to me, I blessed it, I honored it, like thank you. I give my thanks to the placenta for holding my baby, for holding my child through that, my pregnancy. But I knew it was so special. Even though it was bloody and all that stuff, but and the nurses and this were like, you want to see what? I go, my placenta, I want to see it. So they would bring it in that silver bowl and I would like, wow, you're amazing, and I'm there talking to it, because I knew it was special. But like I said, now I know. So even with the umbrella cord, now I know what to do, and the ceremonies that we're going to return to our people, which I prayed for, and my grandmother passed. So now I know what to and how to honor, even though we don't have the umbrella cord with us now. Now I know what to use for that ceremony, to the rebirth of things, to start our life here without the influence of society, what it is, yeah. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I actually had 2 questions. My first question was about spirit names.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they work? Like, are they only for the Indigenous community? Is it also for people that are not Indigenous? So for example, if I said I wanted a spirit name, how would I go about it?
Yeah. Okay, let me ask people this. Are we not all human beings? Okay? We all have spirit names. We all have the Creator. We all have different teachings of the Creator. The spirits recognize us as a spiritual being, our light. So yes, we all have spirit names and clans and things, because when we learn about Europe and the other countries, the Dark Ages, those were the things that they got rid of at that time. Because we still had them, because we were on Turtle Island with non-contact. But in Europe and everything would start, the Romans and all them people start having control and imposing and making up laws, making this and making that. The Dark Ages, that's when they got rid of things. So yeah, it's just us returning and even connecting, because even our medicine wheel, there's a color of man. And you look at that, it's all unified. It all applies, because we're all Creator's children.
Sure.
We're all part of Creator, and Creator's part of us. So yes, because if we start thinking like, no, those French people don't get spirit names, or those people over there, then I want to ask them, well, what kind of spirit world do they have? So they must have a different Creator then. So that means there's thousands of creators if there's only one for us. No, there's only one. And we're all connected. So that's why the medicine wheel is all interconnected. So yes, we do, and yeah, even my chiropractor asked me for a spirit name, you know. So, and he was Oriental, and he was a healer, you know. So we all have our responsibilities and our, because that's what the spirit names means of who we are, how Creator and our ancestors recognize us through our spirit names. When I say Wachi Medowin, I'm not telling you guys my spirit name is Wachi Medowin. I'm telling my ancestors who are coming here to listen, to make sure I'm on, like, you know, I'm introducing to them. You know, not to be rude to anybody, but that's for you guys to know who I am as well. But I'm really talking to the spirit of saying my name, Wachi Medowin, meaning I'm going to speak, I'm going to teach, I'm going to say who I am, I'm going to share what I know. And I don't know everything, and that's fine, because if I did, my head would be this big. We're still learning. I'm still learning about my spirit name too. And I had my spirit name for like, what, 2010? So 15 years out there. Yeah, my son was 15, so he's, I think my son was, yeah, because me and my son went to get our spirit names from. Yeah, so I hope that answers people's questions, and I don't mean to like sound challenging, but yes, I do ask those questions. How come? Like some people, our own nations, think that they can't, when it's just our skin is different, but everything is, the blood still flows the same. My heart still beats the same as yours. And our voice and our eyes and our ears and our nose, everything's the same basis, like, you know. You know, so that's what I think, and that's what I always question. When I was younger, I always had questions because I wanted to know why. You know, and why? Not to be a little pain in the ass little kid, but sorry for saying that. But you know, like, I just want to know why. And when my grandchildren say why, it doesn't annoy me. I always have. If I don't, let's go learn why. Let's go learn it. And they say, okay, because sometimes I don't know everything. And, you know, in time too, the spirit will say, they won't give you exact questions or answers right away. They'll either tell you during a quarter moon, half moon, whatever. That's when you'll know. Because the moon's used as like a calendar too. So each cycle, and I'm learning each cycles of the moon, each of them are, I haven't presented that yet to the people. Each moon cycle is a ceremony, and when to prepare for things, when to ask for things, and when to harvest things, and how to prepare for the full moon. For the new moon, to the new moon, because the new moon is a new cycle. So when you look at these new moon, quarter moon, half moon, and the full moon, like those are cycles. So each cycles are ceremonies. So I haven't even introduced that yet, but I introduced the new moon. How they tell me, share now. But I did have it in writing, what you do, because it leads up to each. It's all connected. I do have it on a PowerPoint there to share those teachings, because otherwise I tell people, otherwise you'd be here every week all year round, like 52 weeks a year. Like, I think twice a month is good, and we work on our own through those other cycles, like preparing and getting ready for the first quarter, the thoughts, and then the second and the third quarters, and we get the physical stuff, and then the full moon, we manifest it. Yeah. The new moon is the idea of it, and letting go of things that no longer serves us, and honoring that masculine energy. So there is process, and there is like ways of doing those moon teachings. Even when the moon's like this, I'll show you. Because some people, When the moon is like, oops, like that, and the other half is covered, it's down. Usually it's like this, say, like the quarters, and like that. But when it's down like this is when the Sabi people are carrying that, honoring that bucket of water. So those are the moon teachings that I share in these moon teachings, ceremonies. When they do that, when it's moons like that, that's when the Sabi people are doing their ceremonies with water. They also do ceremonies. They also do healing ceremonies. They do everything, even with the same as us with ceremonies. So. And some work with fire too. So yeah, some don't. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your questions.
It sure does. Thank you. My second question, I was going to ask about smudging.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, why is it important to the Indigenous community?
It's not only important to Indigenous people, it's important to everyone. Because sage is growing around the world. And there's hundreds, thousands type of sage. So sage is available to everyone for the same reason, to get rid of the negative energy, the entities that's flowing in the room, in the environment, even within ourselves. Like even when we're waking up without that first cup of coffee, we're cranky. Or when people are like, you know, they get that crankiness, and then, oh yeah, let's smudge. Or when someone's unhappy, or like we cleanse that energy. And that's why I say, like, people, we don't own it. Indigenous people don't own it. And we've just carried on those teachings longer than other nations have. And then sage is growing and available for everyone. Every plant, every tree is available for every human being. It's just that we hold those sovereignty of nations and honor the land that we live on and the territory we live on, because the territories weren't even existed then either. It was the star system and the animals that we followed. We just had the responsibility of taking and connecting with the land, no matter where we were, no matter where we were at. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take up like too much
That's
of your time,
okay.
but I know, so throughout just listening to you, I've noticed that there's a significance of like a pipe, and you said that like your grandchildren have some, and there's like a pipe ceremony. Could you maybe just like enlighten me on like the significance of the pipe?
Oh yeah, so a pipe is like a tool where we smoke, because the smoke carries our prayers. So yes, there's many different teachings about the pipe, and it depends what nation you're from. The female and the male, and connecting. Okay, or the tree and the rock connecting, because the tree and the rock, they already knew their purposes after the human beings came for healing. Yeah. So each rock and each tree carry energy, and each rock carries the histories of Mother Earth. They hold the story of Mother Earth. That's why we're connecting with rocks, and we pick it. If you know people that knows how to read the rocks, or feel the energy of the rocks, and some people could feel energy, then seeing the language of the rock, or even the wood and the tree, like those are the connectives. So those are tools too that I believe that the spirit beings need to connect, a physical to connect with us in the physical. So they're tools, they're spiritual tools, but they are spiritual tools also for them. And I don't, because I always question that, like, okay, it's spiritual too for us, but they need something for us to connect with them, to understand them, because some people can't see them. And so they'll use these tools to connect with you. You know, so like the rocks and the animals, like again, all these things, you know, all these beings before us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I hope that helps everyone. And I love, like, because I always ask questions too, and then they teach me, you know, when I was younger, I always asked questions. Like, I didn't accept or I didn't settle. I didn't want to settle with things, and even with some like no disrespect like to other people's protocols or what will happen. You know, what if I'm a backwards person and stuff? Because sometimes I am a backwards person. I do, and I did that for a long time. Like when I read a book, I read the back first. So, you know, I always went to the back of the book and start reading from. And so I know, you know, so when you start thinking about your childhood, the things that you were doing, you're already knowing, working with spirit, working with the ancestors, working with yourself, especially your higher self. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering everyone's questions. There's a couple of small things in the chat. Thank you for sharing, Judy. And they asked, like, when can you come back and share more teaching? So really hope soon. Like, we're so grateful to have Judy join us this evening during our Circle of Wisdom series. So maybe I'm not sure where else you work or if other things you do, maybe people can connect with you outside of just FLPT, or if you do more virtual things, just maybe for folks to connect if there's a way.
Yeah. Well, I do. I'm on Facebook. You know, I do like my page is Sackanay Art, which I do have the Bigfoot conference, and people are welcome to attend. It's next weekend. Yes. Oh my God, it's next weekend. So we're doing a gala event on May the Friday night to kick off the event. That's the first time, because the first year was 1 day, then 2 days, and now this year is 3 days, and it's going to be exciting. So Sackanay Art is where I share my artwork, where I share where I'm going to vend, so people can come meet me or, you know, just chat with me there. So this weekend on Saturday, I'll be at the Indigenous markets in Vineyard, the new by Niagara Falls. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I you don't even realize how much you do, because I also make jewelry too. And I also make like dream catchers, arts and crafts, and I work with crystals, I work with rocks. I'm even creating my own oracle cards, where they're messages from our spiritual beings and the animals. So, and it's been in the works for a while now. I think I need 2 more to do, like to channel these beings to get the message what they are meant for us to understand. So I have those oracle cards, right now I created the new moon journals, and that's help for healing to people to write down things. So I created the new moon journals also, and you know, it's part of my fundraising for the Bigfoot conference next week, and next year we're already working on next year. So it's like, wow, like, you know, so it's coming by fast next week. So I'm really happy with that. But Sackanay Art, where you can connect with me, look up on the internet, you can Google me, and you'll see some, you know, because other organizations like, you know, I just went to the Native Canadian Center, and they're like, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? And I go, yeah, just contact me. So I do some work in my YouTube channel too. So you want to go look at some videos of Bigfoot tracks, like, you know, I do have a YouTube channel too called Sackanay Art. So those are the things that way people, but I never done the YouTube with the teachings. I just go out and show people how to, you know, identify them, or how to do the tracking and stuff like that. So yeah, Sackanay Art on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm not used to Instagram yet, or someone told me to use TikTok. I'm not. I go, oh my gosh. I go, I just hard to keep up with YouTube and the Facebook page to update all the time. So yeah, that's how people can know, or just look at where I work and here, like, you know. So yeah, so I hope to be back. You know, yeah, I like to be back. You know, thank you. Get your miigwech, everyone. Yeah.
It was really great having you this evening. Thank you for the people that joined us online, and for the folks who were in person with us. It was really an amazing opportunity every time we have folks come in, and to hear you speak this evening was really, we're so grateful.